Hi, I'm Renee, the career coach, and in today's video, I'm going to be talking all about what you can do if you've been ghosted in your job search. Because let's be honest, it happens way more than it should. And if you're here, it's probably because you're going through that right now. You're not hearing back from a certain company and you're quite frustrated about it. If you're new here, I'm a former recruiter and now a career coach, helping job seekers really navigate the job search with confidence and really give you empowerment to land job offers and make incredible changes for yourself in your employment. So if you like content like this, go ahead and hit that subscribe button because I'm posting new videos every week. So a couple years ago, and by that I mean like 3 years ago, I actually posted a video all about why employers ghost candidates. And I was filming this video more in the sense to give you an understanding of what's happening behind the curtain so that if you're going through the process of being ghosted by an employer, it would hopefully give you some clarity. But I realized that that video is missing a key component and kind of left everybody feeling like, wait, hey, there's nothing that I can do about it. So better late than never, as I always say, but I'm now filming this video as kind of addressing certain points that I should have put in that original video about what you can do when you have been ghosted. I'm going to be going over 5 reasons as to why you might be getting ghosted, just to give you a little bit of clarity there. And then we'll go into 5 different things that you can do for each situation. And while you can't always control the situation in the job search, there are certain things that you can control. And that's what I really hone in on with my clients, is focus on what you can control. So that's why I wanted to create this video, really give you simple things that you can do to take control of the situation, give you empowerment and help you navigate that, and hopefully hear back from somebody within the HR department and get some answers as to what's going on. So without further ado, let's jump into it. The first one here is internal changes. Now, this could be anything from a hiring freeze, the position's put on hold, maybe there's budget cuts. So you may be in the middle of an interview process and all of a sudden they're getting the direction from higher up that, hey, we can't hire for this position anymore. And instead of reaching out and letting you know, the recruiter just kind of leaves you hanging, which is super frustrating, super unprofessional. So what you can do in this situation to kind of, hey, see if there's any momentum here, is try and reach out to other people in the company via LinkedIn. And I would use LinkedIn just because that kind of gives you a great idea, a straightforward list of people that work in the company that would be in the department of the position you're hiring for. And that's the kind of people you want to reach out to. And I would just send them a LinkedIn request, or the recruiter, if you haven't done that already, just send them a LinkedIn request. And with every time that you go to connect with somebody on LinkedIn, it gives you the option to leave a little message. I would totally take advantage. Just leave something friendly like, hey, I'm interviewing for a position at your company. Would love to connect. Something like that. You're not diving for information yet, okay? They'll probably connect with you and you can just reach out and you're going to make it all about them. Hey, I see you're working at this company. I'm interested. I'm interviewing for a position here. I would love to talk to you more about how you like the company. You're asking them about their experience with this company. One, if they reply, you'll get some additional information about, hey, do they like company culture? Is this something that I should watch out for? You know, they're going to give you the rundown. People love to talk about themselves. They love to talk about the work that they do. So more often than not, you will get responses when you do this. Now, as you communicate with the people back and forth, you'll probably build some rapport there. Okay, and that's when you can kind of slip it in and maybe get some additional information about the hiring process and what's going on. Now, certain things are confidential and they may not just be able to come straight out and say, oh yeah, we're in a hiring freeze right now, or oh yeah, we've had budget cuts. And they may not even know that, but what they could do is they may talk to the recruiting team and say, hey, I'm talking to this candidate. They said they were interviewing and they're kind of wondering, you know, why is everything on hold right now? They may be that deliverer for you, okay? But you don't want to approach this as going over their head and going straight to them and saying, hey, I haven't heard from my recruiter. Can you get me in touch with them? Or can you figure out what's going on with the hiring? You want to be a little bit more sly than that. Reason number 2 here is that you might have an overwhelmed recruiter. And sometimes recruiters are just given more of a workload than they can actually handle. However, if you are in this situation, what I would do is I would specifically be active on LinkedIn around this company. Say this is something that you're actually really excited about, this position. I would go and follow them on LinkedIn, see what company posts they've made, react to those company posts, either comment or like them, share them. This is going to bring up your name again and again as they see that you're interacting with their stuff, okay? Now, this may not break the barrier completely, but at least you're going to be there. Now, I would also stay active on your own LinkedIn page. I would not, however, be posting every single day as a play-by-play of your job search. I've seen people do this on LinkedIn, and it gets kind of cringy after a while. You can always post as soon as you've been laid off or as soon as you're looking for new work. Kind of make an introductory post out there to your network and say, hey, just wanted to put this out there that I'm looking for new opportunities in this field, these types of companies. If anybody has any connections, I would love to talk with you. Let's connect. After that, just turn yourself into a subject matter expert about what your work-related topics are. And the reason that you're going to want to do this is because when recruiters are on LinkedIn and they're searching for candidates, or maybe they're searching for somebody that's product manager of a certain industry, and you're using hashtags in those areas because you're posting about those types of things, you're going to show up more. Now, I'm not promising that the recruiter's going to reach back out because they automatically see you again. Again, this recruiter is probably overworked. But you posting consistently can bring you as top of mind candidate, shows that you're interested, shows that you know what you're talking about, and it can just help you overall, whether it's with this company or another one. Number 3, and I think this is the one that we most often just assume, and that is that there's a preferred candidate, that they went ahead and they have a favorite candidate, they're probably going to hire this person, and so the recruiter just kind of forgets or just feels like, oh, there's no need to reply to everybody else that applied for this position, and I'm just going to focus on this candidate. If there is a preferred candidate, you may not be hearing back because they're moving forward. But here are some things you can do. So instead of being left hanging, realizing, okay, I'm probably not the top candidate, and I don't know if anybody's ever going to want to hire me, and you kind of get into that woe is me mindset, you got to break that, okay? Instead, focus on what you can control, and that is really look at your resume again. Are there certain things you could fix on there? Hone in on those interviewing skills. Was there something that you got stumped on in the last interview? Or maybe there were certain questions where you're like, yeah, I probably didn't answer that as well. Instead of going back and hitting the job boards like crazy, focus on those areas first, because otherwise you're just going to keep hitting the same wall. This is where a career coach can really come in handy, because they may be able to unveil certain things that you're not fully aware of yourself. Because yeah, it is kind of hard to look at ourselves in that light, or I like to think of it like when you've written a paper or something and you read it a million times, and by the end you're just like, this looks great, you know, and you can't really pinpoint even spelling errors. The same thing kind of happens with ourselves when we're going through this process. Having somebody on the outside of it looking at the situation and helping you through it can add a ton of value to your job search. These are all areas that I address in my How to Get Hired course, and really break down those walls and those barriers for you so that you can better see, okay, maybe I'm not doing this properly, or, oh, I need to be doing this instead. And it really helps you have clarity about the whole situation and realize these are the strategies that I need to use, and this is how I need to do them. And so if you're interested in my How to Get Hired course, I have that listed down below. You can check that out. Number 4 is unclear timing, and that's basically where the whole hiring process is dragging out much longer than anticipated. Maybe the hiring manager's out on vacation, or maybe the team is just really slow in getting everything aligned with other interviews and getting those scheduled. Like, who knows what's going on, right? But instead of contacting you and letting you know, hey, this process is taking a little bit longer than expected, hang tight, or how are things on your end, the recruiter does none of that. Instead, you're just left in the dark and you're like, what's going on? And so what you can do in this situation is just stay positive and don't take your frustrations out on the hiring team. I know that that is like the number one thing that you want to do, is just write them the hasty email of like, what's going on? Where are you? Why are you not responding to my emails? But unfortunately, that's not always the best approach to take. Instead, I would follow up every 7 to 10 days. Now, I hear all the time from people saying, well, I did send a follow-up email and I still haven't heard back. But when they look back at it, they only sent one email. You want to stay top of mind. And I know it may feel like, well, am I going to be overbearing if I'm sending them an email every week? Not at all. That's what you should be doing, is sending consistent follow-ups. Think about it in your own work. You'll get an email from somebody and maybe you get sidetracked or you get busy and you kind of forget about it or set it aside and you're like, oh, I'll get to that later. But then if that person is following up with you regularly about it, you're like, okay, fine, I'll get this done. Same thing with a recruiter. Like, their work is finding candidates for the positions. They want to fill the positions, believe it or not, with how some of them act, but they do want to fill these positions. And so if they have a candidate who's constantly like, hey, knocking on the door, what's going on here? They will most likely respond to those candidates and just let them know. So even if you sent them an email, did not hear anything back, I would not feel bad at all about sending another email and another. And until you're about like 3 or 4 weeks out, then it's probably just dead water. But until then, don't feel like you're being completely obnoxious in sending follow-ups. The only time that you can feel obnoxious, because you probably are being obnoxious, is if you're sending a follow-up email every single day or trying to call them every single day. In that case, they will ignore you on purpose. All right, and number 5, the last one, is just poor management candidate systems. Basically what this means is some companies will have ATS systems that they can filter through candidates, keep them updated, send mass emails to all of them that are rejected, and so it closes it out. Some companies, they may have an ATS system, but maybe the recruiter doesn't know how to use it properly, or maybe they don't have one that's as well functioning, and they're not all created equal. Unfortunately, some companies may be really disorganized in this area, and so when you do have a mass amount of candidates that have applied to a position, or even a handful that you've interviewed, they may just struggle. What you can do in this situation, and I kind of talked about this before, is network within the company. I like to say, always be networking. This is going to help you in your job search no matter what. Connect with as many people as you can from this company on LinkedIn. You could also see who else works in the HR department and reach out to them. Again, I wouldn't go with the tone of like, I'm trying to get you in trouble, but just like, hey, I'm interviewing for other companies. Things are going really well. I did interview with this company and I am very interested. I just want to know if I should move on. Is this closed out? Or am I still in consideration? So obviously you may not know which of these 5 areas you are categorized in with your specific ghosting situation that you're experiencing. But you could take these 5 things and apply them to each situation where you are ghosted, especially if it's a position where you're really excited about it and you're really hoping that things go well. I would definitely apply these and hopefully you'll hear back. Now, some of you might disagree with me on this, but I would not always categorize a company as, ooh, this is red flag, I shouldn't work for them because their recruiting is a complete mess and disaster. Because here's the thing, you may be applying for a company that outsources their recruiting. And so while the recruiters over there don't really have their stuff together and aren't handling this professionally, it doesn't necessarily mean that the company that you're applying for is going to be a bad company and they don't treat their employees well because they can't even treat their candidates well. I wouldn't automatically assume that. But I would check out websites like Glassdoor and try and get additional insights about, hey, are they a good company to work for? Their recruiting was kind of a junk, but maybe it's outsourced recruiting and not fully a reflection of how this company runs. Or you could also understand that if it is within the same company, the recruiting and all other departments are led by different people. And you may not even have to worry about that because you have been ghosted. You may never hear back. Hopefully that's not the case. But even if they do reach back out and they say, hey, so sorry, this is what happened. We want to continue to interview for you for this position. I wouldn't cancel it out completely and say, oh, well, you treated me horribly and you ghosted me for 3 weeks, so shame on you. I would always handle things professionally. You never know when doors might open, or one opportunity may lead to the next, or knowing somebody in your network may lead to somebody else that offers you a position. So I always say, in the world of business, just treat everybody with respect and professionally and with kindness. And that will get you very far in life and in business and the work that you do. I'm so sorry that you are being ghosted at this time. And I realize how frustrating that is. And so hopefully this video helps you with some different things that you can do to move forward in this time of unknowing, and continue to push through, apply for other positions, and keep your head up, because you've got this. If this was helpful for you, go ahead and hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and I will see you in the next video.